First we have the Kailh Pro Plum. This is a tactile switch. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters. The actuation distance is 1.7. It's a heavy switch, so it takes 70 grams to actuate and 95 grams to bottom out. It's a pretty heavy force click. It's pretty quiet though. Alright, the next one is a Kailh Brown. It's an MX Brown clone. It's less noisy and it's a light force tactile switch like the Cherry MX. The total distance is 4 millimeters with an actuation distance of 2 millimeters. It takes 42 grams to actuate and 60 grams to bottom out. Next we have the Speed Burnt Orange. This is a tactile heavy force switch. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters, 1.1 millimeters to actuate, and 70 grams to actuate. The next one is a Speed Copper. This is a tactile switch as well. It has the same stem as the Speed Burnt Orange, except it's much lighter. So the total distance is 3.6 millimeters, 1.1 millimeters to actuate, 30 grams to actuate instead of the 70 grams in the Speed Burnt Orange, and it's 65 grams to bottom out. It's a good hybrid for gaming and typing. On a side note, it took me about 3 hours to figure out which switch was which and all the details and information, so hope this helps you guys a bunch. They do not label the switches when you get them in a small Ziploc bag, so we did have to press and feel and say, is this one heavier and this one is burgundy, plum, purple? Like they're very similar, berry, like what the heck? But we figured it out, so let's go. Next we have one of our first box switches. Box switches are mostly dust protected. They're IP rated 56. That means that it will let minimal dust in and it's water protected from all sides from a water jet stream. They were first made to protect the keyboards and switches from gaming cafes where people would eat and drink. Okay, the box red is a linear light force switch. It's very similar to Cherry MX Reds. The reason they're called box switches is because of this square box around the stem. It's a very common feature of all the Kailh box switches. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters, 2.1 millimeters to actuate, 50 grams to actuate, and 60 grams to bottom out. So very light. It feels super light. It's actually lighter than every switch that we've looked at so far. The next one is the Speed Silver. It's light and quick and it's also linear. It's even lighter than the box red. It has a total distance of 3.5 millimeters, 1.3 millimeters to actuate, 27 grams to actuate, and 53 grams to bottom out. So this is the quickest switch so far. It has a pretty short actuation distance, not the shortest, but it's very quiet. Now we have the Speed Dark Yellow. This is linear as well. It has the same stem as the Speed Silver, except it's much heavier. So that means the total distance is still 3.5 millimeters, 1.3 millimeters to actuate, except it has 70 grams of force to actuate instead of 27. The next one is Pro Burgundy. This one was really hard to figure out that it was Pro Burgundy, but Pro Burgundy is a linear switch. It has medium force, it's quick and smooth. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters. It actuates at 1.7 millimeters and it's 50 grams to actuate. So a relatively medium force switch. Alright, so now we have the red, which is pretty much a Cherry MX red clone. It's a linear switch. Like the Cherry MX reds, the total distance is 4 millimeters, 2.0 millimeters to actuate, and 50 grams. Keep in mind, as all of these sounds, this is a full aluminum case, so it does dampen some of the sounds from the bottoming out. Next we have the Pro Berry. It's a linear switch, it's very heavy. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters, 1.7 millimeters to actuate, 70 grams to actuate, and 95 grams to bottom out. Very heavy linear switch. And then we have the black. It's a Cherry MX black clone. It's a linear switch as well. 4 millimeters total distance, 2 millimeters to actuate, 60 grams to actuate instead of 50 grams from the red. So very similar to each other. The black just happens to be a little bit heavier. And then we have our control here. This is the Halo Clear from Input Club. It's a heavy tactile switch. And you can see that it's louder than the rest. But we're only talking about Kailh switches here, so. Moving on, we have the Speed Gold. Now we're getting into some nice click. The Speed Gold is clicky, it's low pitched, and it's a slow click. It also has a little bit of rattle after the initial click. The total distance is 3.5 millimeters. Actuation distance is 1.4 millimeters, 50 grams to actuate, and 60 grams to bottom out. Listen. So it's a very low pitch click, as you'll be able to see from the next coming ones. It's quite slow and not as oomph. Alright, so this one is our top pick for the clicky switches. This is the Speed Bronze. Favorite clicky switch right here. It's high pitched, it's precise, and it's a very clean click. It almost feels as if you feel the click on the bottom and on the way back up. The total distance is 3.5 millimeters, 1.1 millimeters to actuate, 50 grams to actuate, and 65 grams to bottom out. This one sounds nice. So no rattle at all from this one. The next one is also a clicky switch. This is the Kailh Blue switch. It's a Cherry MX Blue clone. It has a sharp initial click, but it has a ton of rattle. We don't personally like this one, but some people do. To some people, this could be just unbearable. So like Cherry MX, the total distance is 4 millimeters. So it takes a little bit longer to actuate at 2.5 millimeters. The actuation force is 50 grams and 60 grams to bottom out. Very medium force. The rattle is unbearable. Okay, so now we're moving on to the Kailh Speed Pale Blue. This is our second favorite click. It has a heavy switch, a great sound, but it could be exhausting to type on because of how heavy it is. It has the same stem as the Speed Bronze, which is this one here, our favorite. So the same stem, which means 3.5 millimeters total distance, 1.1 millimeters to actuate, 70 grams to actuate. Compared to the 50 grams to actuate of the Bronze, this one takes 20 more grams to actuate. A little bit of rattle. Now we have the Pro Light Green, another clicky switch, has moderate force at 50 grams to actuate. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters and it actuates at 1.7. A little rattly and not very strong clicks. So the blue and the Pro Light Green are very similar. The blue takes a longer time to actuate and the total distance is more as well. But their force and sound is nearly identical. Next we have the Pro Purple. This is a tactile switch. It's quiet and smooth. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters with 1.7 millimeters to actuate and 50 grams of force. So very similar to the reds, just faster. Actually, similar to the browns, but more quiet than the browns. And let's look at the brown. The brown's a little louder, a little springy. More of a tactile bump though. Pro Purple, it's a very small tactile bump. Could even be mistaken for linear if you're not paying too much attention. Let's move on. This one was super difficult to figure out what it was. This is the Pro Sage. It is clicky, it's heavy, but it has so much rattle. This is our least favorite in terms of the clicks. It has 3.5 millimeters total distance, 1.7 millimeters to actuate, 75 grams to actuate, and 95 grams to bottom out. Very heavy switch. You can tell the difference. Next we have another box switch. Actually, the remaining ones will be box switches. These are IP rated 56, which is super awesome. This is a heavy linear switch. They're similar to box reds, except heavier. It has a 3.6 millimeter total distance, 2.1 millimeter actuation distance, 70 grams to actuate, and 80 grams to bottom out. Next we have the box browns. These are very similar to browns except with the box protection and the IP rating, and they're a little bit shorter as well. It's a tactile switch. It has 3.6 millimeters total distance, 2.1 millimeters to actuate, 50 grams to actuate, and 60 grams to bottom out. Pretty light tactile bump compared to the regular browns. And then some of our favorites are down here in the arrow keys. We'll start with this one. This is the box burnt orange. It's just like the box brown, except it's heavier. It's tactile, but it has a grainy feel after the tactile bump, and some people don't like that. It has a 3.6 millimeter total distance, 1.3 millimeters to actuate, 60 grams to actuate, and 80 grams to bottom out. So it's a little bit heavier than the browns. Now we have the box pale blue. This is our third favorite click. It has moderate force. It's clicky. Total distance is 3.6 millimeters, and it's 60 grams to actuate and 80 grams to bottom out. So a very clean click as well. Now we have the box whites. If we had to pick a fourth click, this would be the one. These two are actually quite similar to each other. This one has a high pitch click and it's lighter. It also has a 3.6 millimeter total distance. It has 50 grams to actuate and 60 grams to bottom out. So much higher pitch click than the box pale blues. And then last is a pretty boring one. It's the box black. It's linear, it's just like the box red. It's heavier. The total distance is 3.6 millimeters, 60 grams to actuate, 80 grams to bottom out. We bought this Kailh standard sample pack for $17 at NovelKeys.xyz. I'll link to it down below if you want to try some of these switches for yourself. It's a pack of 24 switches and it varies. The switches that we got are red, black, brown, blue, Pro Burgundy, Pro Purple, Pro Light Green, Speed Burnt Orange, Pro Berry, Pro Plum, Pro Sage, Box Red, Box Black, Box Brown, Box White, Speed Pale Blue, Box Dark Yellow, Box Burnt Orange, Box Pale Blue, Speed Gold, Speed Copper, Speed Silver, Speed Bronze, and Speed Dark Yellow. Link each timestamp to these down below as well, so hope this is super helpful for you guys. the end there's going to be some links to different videos if you want to see our mechanical keyboard reviews. Press this one if you want to see some helpful tricks and tips regarding mechanical keyboards. We got this one here, and then this one down here is for you to subscribe if you want to. If not, it's cool.